The Weimar Republic, 1920 to 1933. Germany emerged from World War I with huge debts to finance a costly war for almost 5 years. After officially ending the war by the Treaty of Versailles, Germany's treasury was empty and the currency was losing value. Economic disaster struck with the onset of World Depression in 1929. The American stock market crashed, which led to mass unemployment and great suffering. Germany's population was unnourished and contained many widows, orphans, and disabled veterans. Under the Weimar Republic, the status of women was the most progressive in Europe. The Weimar Constitution of 1919 gave women the right to vote. 49 women were elected to parliament in the first election. Most of Germany's workforce was made up of women, in areas such as industry, agriculture, and clerical work. Artists began creating the tragedy of the war, the human condition, and human suffering through art. Weimar Germany was a center of artistic innovation, great creativity, and considerable experimentation. Kathy Kollwitz was an exceptional artist who was compassionate of the poor and those who struggled in society. Marlene Dietrich proved that women can still look feminine in such clothes suitable for men, emphasizing trimness along the hips and bust. Dietrich refused to work in Germany, and her films were temporarily banned. She was then branded a traitor and spat upon by Nazi supporters. National Socialism, 1933 to 1940. President Paul von Hindenburg adopted Adolf Hitler, Chancellor of Germany. 3 months later, Hitler would announce the death of the Weimar Republic.
Ich denke, dass eine Frau aber bei der Urteilsfällung in Erscheinung treten soll, da muss ich sagen, wenn das eine Frau sein würde, die mir nahe steht, wenn ich mir vorstellen wollte, meine Mutter würde leben und möchte über einen Mörder zu Gericht sitzen und ein Urteil fällen. Niemals, niemals. Das wollen wir nicht.
The main role for women in Nazi Germany was to bear children. This role was that they should be good mothers bringing up children at home while their husbands worked. Many female doctors, civil servants, female teachers, and lawyers were sacked. By the start of the Second World War, very few women were in full-time work. By 1937, Hitler was forced to incorporate women into the labor force, but they were paid lower salaries than those of men. The role model of the women before the height of the war was to bear children and fight the birth rate alongside the soldiers at the front line. Later, women engaged more directly in fighting for the Reich. German femalists who demanded their rights were also taken to Nazi concentration camps. Many women were full of patriotism and ready to serve in the army. Sophia Scholl was a German student and revolutionary, active within the White Rose nonviolent resistance group in Nazi Germany. She was later convicted of high treason. Hitler's propaganda coined the 3 Ks for women: Kinder, Küche, and Kirche, children, kitchen, and church, and tried to defend these by showing us that the role of the mother is at home caring for the children.
Und das müssen Sie von mir verstehen, wenn ich heute einen weiblichen Juristen von mir habe. Und der kann noch so viel leisten. Und nebenan eine Mutter mit 5, 6, 7 Kindern. Und die sind ganz gesund und sind von ihr gut erzogen. Dann möchte ich sagen, vom ewigen Standpunkt des ewigen Wertes unseres Volkes aus, hat die Frau, die Kinder bekommen kann, und die sie nun bekommen hat und die sie nun erzogen hat, und die unserem Volk damit das Leben in die Zukunft geschenkt hat wieder, hat mehr geleistet. Sie hat mehr getan.
One of the earliest laws passed by Hitler once he came into power in 1933 was a law for the encouragement of marriage. This law stated that all newly married couples would get a government loan. The aim of the law was very simple: to encourage newlyweds to have as many children as they could. There was a sinister plan to this: young boys being groomed into becoming soldiers, and young girls being groomed into becoming mothers. When Hitler came to power, he padlocked the family planning clinics and declared abortion a crime against the state. The Cross was a civilian award issued by the German government during World War II in an effort to thank and recognize mothers who had kids. The Reich understood the importance of population. The League of German Girls, Bund Deutsche Mädel, or BDM, was part of the Hitler Youth movement in Nazi Germany. League of German Girls was for girls aged between 14 and 18. Hitler had already formulated his belief that young girls had to undergo training to make them fit and strong enough to be good German mothers, ensure the survival of a 1,000-year Reich. The leader of the Hitler Youth was Bulgar von Schirach. The purpose was to educate the girls in National Socialism. Some activities the youth participated in were arts, crafts, childcare, cooking, sewing, and theater. Fitness programs were mandatory for all ages of women. The ideal woman was blonde, blue-eyed, was built sturdy, and had broad hips and no interest in makeup, fashion, or slimming. Hitler thought that more racially pure Germans would result in a stronger military and ability to colonize conquered territories in the East. A policy called Lebensborn, Fount of Life, formed where unwed women were taken to special camps where fit Aryan SS members fathered numerous children.
Das freut einen, dass so viele mit dem goldenen Parteiabzeichen dabei sind. Und die Landarbeiter, ja. Wie viele Kinder haben Sie? Da muss ich mich ja genieren. Wie viele Kinder haben Sie? Drei. Also hier, das ist das Beispiel. Da hinten sind einer, der hat 32. Was? Wie viele haben Sie? Drei, das ist ja gar nichts.
It was great to have as many children as possible. National Socialism, 1940 to 1945. German nursing did indeed change during the Nazi period. Nurses were active participants and killed over 10,000 people. German nurses participated in medical experiments on living people. At this time, there were more than 4,600,000 women in the military and over 6.5 million in civilian war work. Hitler had forbidden women to work in German weapon factories as he felt that a woman's place was at home. Albert Speer pleaded with Hitler to let him use German female workers, but right up to the end, Hitler refused. War ended with the surrender of Germany on May 7, 1945, and then the German surrender to the Soviets on May 8, 1945. Germany was defeated by the British and Americans in the south and west, and by the Russians in the east. There were a handful of women among the most notorious violent Nazi camp guards and bureaucrats. Of the 55,000 guards who served in Nazi concentration camps, about 3,700 were women. The Nazis began using women because of a guard shortage.
There were around 3,500 female warders at Ravensbrück between 1942 and 1945. The camp was a training centre for thousands of female SS warders. After a brief initiation period, some of these warders were then deployed in other female concentration camps. Female concentration camp warders did not hold the same rank as their male counterparts in the SS. To compensate for this, they were offered comparatively good wages and the opportunity of serving the Reich.
Of these women, there was Irma Gräser. She was employed at the Nazi concentration camps of Ravensbrück and Auschwitz. She was in charge of approximately 30,000 women prisoners, mainly Polish and Hungarian Jews. She used both physical and emotional methods to torture the camp's inmates and enjoyed shooting prisoners in cold blood. Gräser was convicted for crimes against humanity at the Belsen trial and sentenced to death. Another concentration camp guard working at Ravensbrück was Hertha Botha. There she became known as the saddest of Stoffhof due to her brutal beatings of prisoners.
Ich, die SS-Offizier Hertha Botha, bin seit dem 1. März 1945 im KL Bergen-Belsen.
So einen Fehler gemacht? Nö. Weiß nicht, wie ich das beantworten soll. Habe ich einen Fehler gemacht? Nö.
Stereotypes. Men are violent. It is normal. It has been normalized. Men go to war. They commit violent crimes. They are socialized as being that way. Women are not socialized as being violent. They are portrayed as nurturers. Nevertheless, men and women can find themselves in the midst of evil. Today we can only judge from this experience that evil amongst all of us Yet Germany has reinstated its past, and men and women have worked together to create a peaceful society. This shows by the current president of Germany, Angela Merkel,